In Serbia, you have two different families that used to rule in the 20th century. Like there were two Serbian uprisings led by two different leaders that are from two different families. And so that's how the modern nobility of Serbia was created. Because both Karađorđevići, who were responsible for the first Serbian uprising, and Obrenovići, who were responsible for the second Serbian uprising, got the chance to lead Serbians as their kings afterwards. And this is the King Alexander Karađorđević, who was in Serbia at 2 mandates actually in the 20th century. But the thing was, the Karađorđevići and Obrenovići were switching like from time to time because they didn't like each other so much. And under the rule of Karađorđevići, we had a lot of wars, but we were kind of protecting the identity and we were protecting the glory of the Serbia. And then under the Obrenovići, we were having a lot less wars and we were building a lot more around the Serbia. For example, this building was built in the Obrenovići time when they led our government. Do you see the train? Do you remember the train? Do you want a picture with train? I don't know. Yeah. So this train was actually the one that was driving the coal from Jelašnica, where we were previously, all the way to Niš. And sure, since we are here, let's just go into the train, why not? It was not the plan, but well, sure, why not?
Who is this guy? Ratko?
He was one of the... so, since we had a lot of wars, we had a lot of war heroes. There will be a lot of statues of war heroes, and if they have like the red star on them, then they're communist ones. And if they don't have a red star, then they belong to some other, time or some other vacation. So, what it says on here, it's Železnica Jerma, Rudnik Uglja Jelašnica. Because the train tracks were built by this Jerma train truck organization company, and the mine that it was bringing the coal from was the one in Jelašnica. And they call this the square to my left has a different name from that one over there, and it's called the square of Pavle Vujisic. And Pavle Vujisic was actually one of our famous actors. So quite nice that you're naming streets about people from the art, not only from the military history. And if you look there, you have the Adventistic church, because there was, when there were, so at one time there was a migration.
Tekstov kako je to Avgusta.
Yeah, but yes. So that's actually because in this building at the communist times was the communist settlement, of course, like that. They were organized in the communist party from the So, it's called Stevan Sremac, and soon we're going to see the statue of Stevan Sremac. There is also a museum of Stevan Sremac. So who was the Stevan Sremac? Well, he was one of our most famous writers, not only writers, but also the teachers who was creating kind of the... okay, cool, we can talk a lot about... Okay, we have the old Niš hotel here, bridge. And after that bridge, there was the new King's Bridge that was built, this one. So, the King's Bridge was, in order to be built, there was this old Ottoman bridge that needed to be taken down. And the fun thing was that when they were taking down the bridge, in one of the pillars that was holding the bridge, when they were taking it apart, slowly part by part, they realized that there was a treasury from the Ottoman times being hid inside of the bridge. Mm-hmm. And when they found it, they told it to king, of course, and they preserved everything that was there. And one of the greatest treasures that was found was the original head from the Roman times of Constantine the Great. And it's actually the only bronze head of Constantine the Great anywhere. And it's one of the rare statues of Constantine the Great that was found in the world. So it's protected, and it's in the vaults of Belgrade museum, National Museum. But if you go to the archaeological expo sala, how do you say that? Hall, that's right around the corner. I will show you where it is. You can see the replica, and in Belgrade you can see the replica also. But the original one, because of its huge collector's value and because it's a huge historical value, is being kept in the vaults of the museum. You know, so no one will steal it because, you know, we're not such a good organized country. Let it be in the vaults. This one. And yes, if I keep on talking this much, we'll have 3 hours more. So kind of the guy who created the reforms in Serbian language that created quite a few different things, and he was pretty important for us because he created the Serbian bukvar, and he was collecting the stories from different parts of not only Serbia but also the surrounding countries that at the time used to be one entity. And he was kind of trying to preserve our identity as a nation, nationality. We'll not get into that, but from this.
So his name is Vuk Karadžić.
Stefanović Karadžić. Oh, sure. And this is like the library. Oh, sure. And then we have one guy who spent a lot of time in Bosnia. The guy who won the Nobel Prize for literacy. Too big, but that's what we have. And it's pretty interesting if you go inside because this area was populated from the Stone Age onwards. So we had finds like from the Starčevačka kultura. Starčevo is the same culture or semi-same culture as the Lepenski Vir culture, which was really old. It's actually older than the cultures that built pyramids in Egypt. It's around 4,000 years old. It's really old. It's the oldest one in Europe, actually, because when the settlers came here, one of the first, except in Germany there are some finds that are older, but one of the first cultures that were settled and that created the society were the ones that were on the Danube River, that were at the Lepenski Vir. And when we have the Starčevo culture, which is a bit after that, it was spread across Balkans, mostly across Serbia, and in the Niš area we had 2 or 3 settlements of there, which were, you know, quite rich with some historical heritage.
Istanbul. Istanbul grad.
Yeah.
Što je bot?
Pretty nice house, eh?
Yeah.
It's actually a restaurant, and one of the best restaurants in the city. And it has this old look that was characteristic for the 19th century in Serbia, and mostly in this southern part of Serbia. Why? This is how the houses were built when the Ottomans were here. Because in the 19th century, there were a lot of houses like this everywhere. But when we got freed, we decided we don't want to remember that part because we were under the Ottoman Empire, under the Ottoman rule for some 500 years, as we say. In reality, 350 years to 500 years. Depends on which part was conquered first and which part was conquered last. So, because when the Ottomans were arriving, they were arriving from south towards north. So when we say Serbia was under the Ottomans for 500 years, it's 350 years to 500 years. I think it's not preserved like in total. It's like some houses are preserved in the same style as they were at the time that they were built, but the purpose of the street was changed. The purpose of the street at the time it's being used, like in the 19th century, was creating of like kazani, like the, you know, there were a lot of craft work shops there. Some of them were for creation, and this is pljeskavica. Yeah, you guys know, but because you're, but he doesn't. Okay, so anyway, pljeskavica.
Pleškavica, we have in Timișoara. We have in Timișoara pleškavica.
Yeah, there was pljeskavica, the original one.
Yeah.
So you see, pljeskavica, and then cevapi would be, there is no cevapi. Okay. Anyway, the street was preserved the same way it used to be, like with all the craftsmen creating all the different kinds of crafts at the time. But nowadays, all of those buildings were converted into cafes, like in small kafanas. So when we walk there, you will see it's a pretty nice place to go to, and that's where people from Niš like to go and, you know, enjoy their time, drink their coffee in the morning, because Niš people drink a lot of coffee. And we drink it the Turkish way, you know, you put the water on the hot stove and you add some coffee, wait for it boils, and then you pour it into the glass. That's how we drink it. We call it like domaća or our coffee, but it's Turkish coffee, like the black one.
We were just like meeting out there.
You should enjoy it. Anyway. This is the main walking area of the it goes all the way to the entrance of the fortress. That is yellow because the usual way of trying to take a picture here is like yeah. Anyway, who are these guys? So this guy here is culture, and this fellow here, yeah, he's Chapa. And this guy here is responsible for them sitting here and for the naming of the library and for education. First school in Serbia, in Niš, and for quite a lot of other things. And his name is Stevan Sremac. And two, let's say, not really the most important, but two quite important pieces that he wrote down are the pieces made for theater, and they are called Ivkova Slava and Zona Zamfirova. And they're actually about this area around us, about Niš, about the old south part of Serbia. And how people used to live here, what they used to do, how they used to behave. Keep in mind that today is like what, Tuesday? And also how many people are in the park? Or Wednesday? Yeah, and there is no football game. It's just people like to sit around, enjoy. And the best place to come here, one can plastic shade. Sad da pređemo. Ići ćemo njom do kraja, sad ćemo da okrenemo gledamo. Ima svega, sad ćemo proći u svega. Yes, these are the housing buildings. to someone can accept the market. And it's really long kilometers and a half. And all shops all the way that way, all shops all the way that way. And it's until the First World War. And also the place in which the First World War started. Now we're getting to some serious history here. So the building that you will see soon enough is the place in which officially the First World War started. Because we received the ultimatum from Austro-Hungarian Empire, which declared that after the attentate, killing of the Franz Ferdinand in Sarajevo, where the guys from? Yeah, yourself. From Sarajevo, yeah. What happened in Sarajevo is that we had a invitation because Sarajevo was over there, fortress and banks of the river. We'll go down if you want to go to the bedroom. There will be camps over there. This here is Constantine the Great. But let's make a short break from talking because I think you should enjoy the atmosphere of this without me talking about it. And look at this, it's pretty nice. Green area, but unfortunately there was Crusaders invasion.
Ovako idemo do 20.
It's all about the history of this place. Let's go inside.
Pričamo sve.
There is an interesting writing up there. It tells about the date of the building of the fortress. It tells who built it, how they built it, rebuilt it, what was before, and that kind of stuff. Let's go inside. Yes, this is touristic info point here. You can buy some souvenirs there. You can buy souvenirs also at the place I will show you in a few moments. It's a pretty cool place. We usually talk about souvenirs there, but this is the thing. It's like the museum part. It's actually the old Kama from the Ottoman times. And before the Kama, if you look in front, you will see the Roman temple. Because this fortress was like in the capital built by the Romans. And then later was rebuilt and reused by our nobility, but it's like the 2nd century onward. Terme. Kama was built much later, like in the 16th, 17th century. And also the, how do you call it, Celts use this place for their, defensive position because it's really good defense position on banks of the river. To my left there is a lot of pictures from the old times. This one here is not standing anymore, it's standing there. Ottomans. When the Ottomans were here, and if you see the minarets,
Who built?
there are a lot of them.
Who built first
The fortress?
Yeah.
Well, the first fortress was built by Romans because we cannot prove that it was built by the Celts. Celts might have had some sort of the fortification here, but it was not as the fourth one. The first fort was built by Romans in the 2nd century and was actually a pretty strong one.
So
Nisus
actually,
was
when they came, they settled here in the
Romans.
fortress? No, the Ottomans.
the Ottomans were, yeah, so what's happening was the Turkish people were living inside of the fortress and near it.